Well, I have a particular interest in the way people move around and those that are unstable. So I'm particularly interested in people who nearly fall or fall to see if we can do something to help prevent them having that event. So our piece of work here at the University of Southampton is a clinical component of a much larger piece of work known as SPHERE and led by the University of Bristol in collaboration with the universities of Reading and Southampton. Our role within the University of Southampton is to look at how people move around in their house, and we want to know how they deal with those moments of being unstable, to see if eventually we can give them some information at that moment of being unsteady that will help them stop them from falling over. Well, we've done 3 studies, and our first study was to observe how people move around at home. So we went into a number of homes and just watched how people moved. And that first piece of research was led by Emma Stack. And one of the things she noticed was that people had a favourite chair, and that was a really important part of our further study.
In our first study, we used video, wearable sensors and 3D depth camera similar to those used in popular game consoles such as Xbox to monitor people in their home.
In the previous studies, we monitored movements over short periods of time. We're now collecting data in the 3-day study where we're tracking people's movements using these wearable sensors over a period of 3 days as they're moving around freely in their own home, doing their own activities. And the information we collect from that gets sent back to the computer scientists who then use this information to see if they can identify periods of instability, can identify which movements people have been doing and whereabouts in the house they were at the time, and with a view for in the future to be able to predict when people's movements are about to change and identify before they have a fall.
Well, I've had quite a few falls, and I'm keen that if anything can be done to help other people or help me, it can be sorted out a bit. I don't anticipate it sort of helping me at this time, but eventually all research leads to
Improvement.
To what?
Improvement.
Yes.
In order to understand what activity you might be doing in your home, we've got certain aids to help us. We've got door checklists. We would ask you to indicate every time you enter a particular room. We will also ask you to fill in a couple of diaries which will ask you questions about your mood or physical activity. This will help us match this data with the wearable sensors. I will also be drawing a floor map of your home to help the engineers understand the orientation of your home. And we will be video recording some key activities that you do on a day-to-day basis. So in the future, we don't need to wait for a fall to happen and then intervene. If we identify deteriorating movement before a clinician can possibly identify it, we can alert the GP or get you assessed by a physiotherapist, have your medication reviewed, so we can then intervene before a big problem arises.
What we found, and what Emma Stack went on to discover, was that it wasn't necessary to monitor people throughout their house to know who was going to be at risk of falling over, that it was just necessary to watch people as they got up from their chair and walked to the stairs, or if they didn't have stairs in their house, they walked to their kitchen. And did they show any levels of instability? And that was enough for us to be able to identify those people who were at risk and who may benefit further from information that would help them to stop them from falling in future.